Good morning, this is Yule Hanna for CruiseCraze.com. Well, I don't think that anybody knows the answers to all of the questions or any of the questions. We are coming up on 2 weeks. We'll have supposedly the end of the no sale date for the CDC. That may be extended, maybe it won't. One thing I know for sure is people want to get on the cruise ship. I'm booking cruises every week, and I really think that we're back in the way that we want to be. We're going to be booking cruises in 2021. It's going to be a big year. But the main question is this: how do you get where you want to be? And that's the topic of today's video. How do you get where you want to be? Well, cruising is one of the most fun things that I've done in a long time. My wife and I both enjoy cruising very much, and we have 3 cruises booked right now for this coming year. I really think that that the time we spend on the cruise ship is wonderful. I would not. I've never had a cruise that I didn't really love. So there it is. I do have a problem with cruising, and that is getting to where the ship is. Now, obviously, if you're going to cruise, you have to get where there's an ocean so that you can get on the cruise ship. It's easy if you live in California, or if you live in Florida or in New York, or it's not a bad drive. You just go get on the ship and leave your car there and everything's fine. But if you live where we live, in Oklahoma, in the middle of the United States, it becomes a new problem. There's some real obvious things, and then there's some less obvious things. The first thing is, the closest cruise port for us is Galveston. If you're going to a port by car, then you probably need to make arrangements for parking before you leave home. There are all kinds of parking garages in the area. Some of them are safe, some of them are covered. Some of them are just parking lots, but they're usually maintained. But you need to make sure you do that before you go. You don't want to be looking for a place to park after you get to the port. So it's a very simple deal. Just go online. If you put in the terminal that you're going to and just put parking for that specific terminal, they'll pop right up and make sure that you get parking before you go. For my wife and I, it's a little taxing to drive 8 hours straight. So it usually involves, for us, an overnight somewhere and then going the next morning to Galveston. So we've done that, but that's expensive. And we decided we're taking a cruise out of Galveston later this year. We decided what we're going to do is we're just going to fly to Houston and then take the shuttle over to Galveston from there, and we'll be there a lot faster, and we don't have an overnight. Probably the money is going to be a little bit more, but I think that the stress on the driving through Dallas and through Houston to get to Galveston would be well worth the flight ticket. So that's what we're going to do this time. We'll see how it works out. Now, if you do not live close to Galveston, our only other option are very within close proximity. Our other option would be New Orleans or possibly Alabama. But those are trips that you can make that maybe you want to stay overnight and then go on in. But really, driving to New Orleans, you would just really want to be driving. If you want to drive, that's fine. I would take a flight. Now, what does that mean? Well, the majority of the cruises that are out there are going to, in fact, the majority of the cruises go from the Florida area as far as the Caribbean goes. Now, if you're going to go to Alaska, you're going to obviously have to go out of Los Angeles or out of San Francisco, or just keep going on up to Seattle, Washington, or Vancouver. those are going to be the places you want to get on a ship to go to Alaska. A lot of things going out of the California coast. You can go down to the Mexican Riviera, or you could go across to Hawaii, but it means flight. Now, getting the flight for either way, if you're going to the East Coast or the West Coast, you're going to have to do some planning, and the more time that you allow, the better. One of the things that I have discovered is if you use the air that is provided through your cruise ship, they have a tendency to have the very best rates that you can get. And there's a real plus there. If you, say, book a cruise through Princess and you use the Easy Air, you are going to, they will guarantee that flight is going to coincide with your departure. So you fly in that morning, say you miss a flight, they're either going to hold the ship until you get there, or they're going to get you to the next port one way or the other if something catastrophic happens that would hold you up several hours. So the same thing going back. They're going to guarantee that you're going to get on a flight that is going to coincide with the landing of the ship on disembarkation, so that you're able to get to the airport in time. So there's some real advantages by using air through the cruise ship line that you travel with. Another thing about choosing a port like Galveston, or say New Orleans, or maybe the Alabama coast, sometimes in some of those there'll be smaller ships. There are fewer ships, and traditionally not the fanciest ships, the ones that you really want to get on. If you want to do an Oasis class ship, you're going to have to go to Florida to get on it. Now I will say this, supposedly coming up in the next year or so, they're going to have the Allure of the Sea, and the Royal Caribbean Allure of the Seas is going to be in the Galveston area. There is a Disney ship there. Right now the Liberty of the Seas is there. There are 2 Carnival ships that are in Galveston quite often, Carnival Freedom and the Vista. So there are opportunities, but we've been on the Carnival Freedom many times, and to be perfectly honest, we know the ship. We'd like to do something else. So that's the downside of going to one port over and over. I think that as you cruise more, you're going to want to see more destinations which take you to different ports. We're going to go out of New York this year. We have not done that before. To go up to Canada, and I'm looking forward to that. I think it'll be great. But the main thing is that requires a flight. So you have to plan for your flights, and it's important that that you really consider at least the flight plans that go through your cruise ship that you're going to take, because they coincide, they connect, and they will, there's nothing worse than having a layover in some place and no way to get to the ship and no way to get there on time. If you do the flight through your cruise ship, they're going to try to make things work so that you at least get on the ship at some point. This is Yul Hanna, and I would appreciate it if you would subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Will you do it? And until next time, Yul Hanna from cruisecraze.com saying, have a happy day and be safe.